Kairon had spent his life chasing knowledge. He had combed through the grandest libraries, absorbed the wisdom of ancient texts, and debated with the sharpest minds of his era. There was no question he could not dissect, no concept he had not wrestled with. And yet, beneath the weight of all that understanding, an emptiness lingered, a quiet, insidious void he never dared acknowledge. It was not ignorance that troubled him, but the unsettling realization that despite all he had learned, he did not know what he was truly seeking. One evening, as he sat at his desk under the dim glow of an oil lamp, a letter appeared before him. It bore no seal, no signature, just a single line written in precise, almost mechanical script. "You have reached the limits of knowledge, but do you truly understand it?" He frowned, turning the parchment in his hands, expecting some hidden clue, an encrypted message, a cipher to decode. But there was nothing, only that stark, unadorned question. It was not an idle query. It struck at the core of the doubt he had buried beneath layers of logic. For 2 days, the question gnawed at him, weaving itself into his thoughts like a parasite. And then, as if summoned by his restless contemplation, a stranger arrived at his door. The man did not introduce himself, did not speak his name, only handed Kairon another note. 2 words, "Mind not." The name was not unfamiliar, a legend whispered among scholars, spoken of in hushed tones as an unattainable ideal. It was said to be a sanctuary of the intellect, a place where the greatest minds convened, where the pursuit of knowledge was pure, unfettered by the mundane constraints of society. But such a place could not exist. A utopia of thought, a city built not of stone and mortar, but of reason and revelation. The stranger watched him with an eerie patience, as if he already knew the turmoil in Kairon's mind. "If you wish to know whether mind not is real, follow me." Doubt warred with curiosity. This could be a trick, a test, a cruel game designed by those who sought to undermine him. But Kairon did not believe in meaningless coincidences. Some moments arrived not to be understood, but to be chosen. So he chose. They walked as the sun sank behind the city, slipping through streets that grew narrower, darker. From the broad, illuminated boulevards of the known world, they descended into the forgotten veins of the city, shadowed alleys, hidden corridors where the walls seemed to press inward. And then, they left the city altogether, stepping into landscapes unmarked on any map. By the time dawn broke, they stood before something that was not a gate in the traditional sense. No wood, no iron, no grand archway carved with symbols of power. It was simply an absence, a void between 2 towering cliffs. Looking through it, Kairon saw not another side, but something else entirely, a reality that felt different. The stranger turned to him. "This is the point of no return. If you step through, you will not come back the way you came." Kairon did not hesitate. If this was a game, he had already accepted its rules. He stepped forward. The world swallowed him whole. He was falling, but there was no wind, no sensation of descent, no gravity, no up or down. He did not know if he still existed as a body or if he had become a mere thought, floating in an infinite expanse. But he did not panic. His mind, trained in logic, sought to explain the unexplainable. If he could not grasp it, it was only because he lacked the necessary data. Then just as suddenly he landed. There was no impact, no jarring stop, just the quiet shift from falling to standing. He was in a vast chamber, walls stretching endlessly upward, illuminated by no discernible source, yet perfectly visible. Before him sat 5 figures on ancient stone seats, their presence both silent and commanding. One of them, an elder with eyes like deep wells, spoke first. "You have crossed the threshold, which means you are ready. But before you go any further, understand this. Mind not is not something you can learn. It is only something you can abandon." Kairon frowned. The statement reeked of paradox. He had encountered such riddles before. Philosophical puzzles designed to frustrate rather than enlighten. Yet as he stood there, he could not deny that the words struck a chord of recognition. The greatest thinkers of old had often said that wisdom was not the accumulation of knowledge, but the shedding of illusion. Another figure spoke, voice calm yet unwavering. "You believe you have come here for answers, But what you will truly find are the questions you have never dared to ask. A third, you see knowledge as illumination, yet have you considered that light can cast the deepest shadows? A fourth, you have reached the farthest boundary of thought, but have you ever wondered whether thought itself is the final cage? The fifth said nothing, but Kairon felt the weight of his gaze, as though he were being seen in his entirety. Not just the man he was, but the man he had been and the one he might become. Silence stretched, thick as stone. Kairon, who had spent his life answering questions, found himself speaking the simplest one. "What must I do?" The elder shook his head. "We do not give answers because we do not hold them. You must find your own. But first tell me, do you truly know who you are?" Kairon laughed, the sound hollow even to his own ears. Such a childish inquiry, almost insulting. "I am Kairon. I have studied every great system of knowledge. I have read, I have debated, I have reasoned my way to the edge of human understanding." A slow smile from the third figure. "And if all of that were stripped away, what would remain?" He started to answer, but the words caught in his throat. If not knowledge, if not intellect, if not the structured identity he had meticulously built over a lifetime, then what was left? The fifth figure, who had remained silent, now spoke. His voice was soft, yet it filled the entire chamber. "You do not know who you are, and because of that, you are not yet ready to play." The world fractured. Kairon fell again, but this time, he was not sure if he was falling downward or inward. He saw himself, hundreds, thousands of reflections in shattered mirrors. Each version of him bore a different expression, a different truth. A younger Kairon, eyes alight with the arrogance of certainty. An older Kairon, weary, drowning in knowledge yet starved of meaning. A broken Kairon, standing amidst ruins, realizing too late that understanding had never been the goal. The mirrors surrounded him, stretching infinitely, until a voice, his own, whispered, "What are you running from?" He clenched his fists. This was a trick, a mind game. He would not fall for it. But then, one reflection stepped forward, not another version of him, but himself, as he was now. "You believe you are searching for truth, but have you considered that truth does not exist?" The foundation of his being trembled. "You believe your mind is your greatest tool, but what if it is your prison?" The mirrors began to crack. Kairon knew what had to be done. He lunged forward, striking at his own reflection. The mirror shattered, and with it, the illusion. He stepped through the emptiness that remained, and on the other side there was nothing. No ground, no sky, no time, no self. Just awareness, pure, unfiltered, beyond thought. For the first time, Kairon did not seek an answer. For the first time, he simply was.